There you go.
All right. All right, back to my new channel, Groove Talk. And this is the third series. And now in my screen is a musician from London, England. His name is Mike Higgins. Am I right?
You are. Yeah,
All
everything's
right.
correct. Yes.
All right, we'll get to know him more and to know about the condition there for the entertainment business and the musician's life there. So it's time, maybe it's time for us, the right time for us to share everything worldwide since we're locked up inside of our homes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
Exactly.
So just
Exactly.
tell us about how you start playing bass there.
Oh, how I started. Well,
Start.
when I was about 12, I think my older brother played bass, and he's 9 years older than me, so he was already out doing gigs, and so from about 12, there was always a bass with an amplifier in the house, and so that's kind of. I got a guitar. I got an acoustic guitar for Christmas when I was very young, and I played, but I didn't go anywhere with it. And then when I started to play my brother's bass, it, I just kept going. There was no sign. There was nothing in my head saying, "Oh, this is what you should do," and that. But I just kept going and going. And then when I was 16, my brother had moved out of our hometown and moved to a town called Bristol, which was about 400 miles away.
Mhm.
And he came back one year to visit, and he took me to a local music store and bought me my own bass and an amp.
An amp,
So
okay.
yeah, a bass and an amp. Yeah. So
What's your
uh,
first bass? What's your first bass there?
oh, my first bass was a fretless.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
too
yeah.
much for a kid.
Tough, tough guy. My first bass was a fretless by a company called Artist, and they were very cheap basses. They didn't they didn't have a fingerboard.
Hmm.
The fingerboard was just the same piece of wood as the neck, but
Okay.
with a bit of paint, black paint, this thick,
Wow.
going. So it looked like you had two pieces of wood stuck together,
Okay.
but in fact it was just one piece.
It's just one piece. Wow.
It was just one piece of with a piece of paint with some dots
Yeah, yeah,
painted on
yeah.
there. So that was my first bass, and I think I wanted that bass. It was like a P bass
Hmm.
because they didn't do a jazz bass. I didn't know
Oh,
what a jazz bass was,
yeah, yeah.
And the reason I think I chose that one from the music store was my brother had introduced me to Weather Report.
Oh,
Uh, yeah.
Jacob was
So
very.
he said to me, "Oh, you have to check this album," and it was Heavy Weather with Jacko,
What a great
and
introduction there for you then.
to Weather Report. Yeah, because my brother had quite good music taste
Hmm. Hmm.
and introduced me to a lot of stuff. Not he didn't even introduce me. He just had those vinyl records in the house, so I would just play them and figure out what they were and what I liked, and so that was my very first bass. And then I got um, the bass that he was using. He kind of gave up playing, so I
Hmm.
got his bass. So I had a fretted bass, which was great. Really great to have a fretted bass because I could play in tune.
All right, because you started in fretless.
Yeah. I think I just started on fretless maybe because of the Jacko thing. And I thought, well, that's what you do. You just play that kind of bass. And I just liked the fact that you could kind of go like that and it made a nice sound, sort of boom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The moi, yeah,
And
the
yeah,
moi.
and I think I just spent months going and enjoying it.
What
So
made me
that was.
curious is that how did you start playing fretless? Did you know that there is a slight difference in playing fretted and fretless at that time?
Probably, but at that time, a little bit after that time, yeah, I think I was already playing electric bass. I started playing double bass at school, but I was originally a trumpet player, you know, and but I was terrible. Yeah, and you know, I had no love for the instrument really. It's just that I could make the sound, and when I was very young, the trumpet teacher came round our school, and he just gave you an audition straight away, and if you could make the sound with the trumpet, you were a trumpet player.
All right.
You know, that was it. So there was no real love for it. But yeah, so much later on in school, I started to play double bass, but there was no double bass teacher at my school, so I just had to do it myself. I got one lesson from a cello teacher, and she taught me how to hold the bow, and that was it. And then I took my exams in double bass, and I passed because the school gave me the double bass to take home to practice.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess when I came to that was kind of connected to the fretless thing, I guess. But you know, I got the fretless before I took up double bass. But no, I just you know, when you're so young, you don't really know the differences, do you?
Yeah.
Kids nowadays do. You know, there's the really young kid in I think he might be, I don't want to get his nationality wrong, but I think he might be Chinese. He plays amazing funk on yeah, and he wears a baseball cap backwards quite a lot of the time, and he's already got some endorsements, and he's under 10 years old. You must have seen him on YouTube. He plays some Facebook. He plays some amazing.
You mean I think he's Indonesian. I think that kid
could be a little kind of chubby kid, you know.
Yeah. That's Indonesian.
Yeah. Tiny hands. He's got really small hands because he's not grown up yet.
I think his name is Jeff Delano.
He plays amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so kids nowadays are far more aware. I mean, he knows how to get a tone out of a jazz bass, and it's great, you know. It's but for me, it was far more blind. You didn't have the information because the internet wasn't there.
So basically, you're trying to say that you learned your electric by yourself, electric bass.
Oh yeah. I learned completely. I think I've had maybe 3 or 4 lessons in my life, which I regret. You know, I wish I'd had more lessons early in my life, and I wish I'd gone to university or college to study bass, but the opportunity just wasn't there, and so I did it all myself, and that led to very good things, and it led to very bad things. Because you didn't have the foundation from an expert. You just had you built your own foundation. So you built it like this, you know. So but because I didn't go to college or university when I was young, it meant that I didn't have my how do I say it, I wanted to keep studying myself because it was never satisfied when I was 18 to go to university. I had to keep studying myself all my life. So that because I never got fed that information when I was young, I wanted to keep eating all my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I bought tons of books. The Jazz Theory, that's a great book. Yeah.
It's quite thick for me.
It's what?
Quite thick for me, thick book.
Oh, great, man, great. Really excellent book.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I just so happen to have all my bass books beside me, and this one, I'll just show you this one. The Latin Bass Book by Oscar Stagnaro.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Check it out.
Yeah. So, yeah, do please. Other bass players too, because that's a great introduction.
So you had a chance to get a music education in your life then?
No, not really. No.
A formal one, I think. I mean.
Well, when I was maybe 10 years old and I was playing trumpet, that was a formal education, but I didn't realize at the time. But as far as bass goes, no, I didn't. I studied at school, but as I say, I had to do it on my own. So again, because we didn't have a bass teacher, so I just had to go through the examinations on my own, and and just do it my way. So I've never had a formal education in bass, really. But as I say, I think that's what keeps me going, and I keep studying, and I keep, and it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a positive thing. Also with me, it happens with me also. It's like
Same thing.
self-learning, lifetime learning, right?
Yeah, lifetime. I
Yeah,
mean, I've been watching the Chick Corea live streams
yeah,
on
yeah,
Facebook,
yeah.
and if that isn't lifetime learning, I mean, Chick
Mhm.
Corea is what, 80, I think, or something like that this year,
Yeah,
and he still sounds like he's learning things, which is
yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So you mostly you play in London music scene or any other area?
well, I do quite a lot of traveling as well.
Uh-huh.
So the the bigger money gigs for me tend to involve traveling.
Okay.
So that could be all over the world, doing gigs, and even doing like cruise ship gigs that takes you across the other side of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and also within the UK. I generally have to travel quite far in British terms, 200 miles, something like that, for more money. But the gigs I do in London, they can be very well paid, but also you get more gigs with less money.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is you're home in 20 minutes from the gig, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
And that's really, for London, that's amazing. You can just go into the centre of town, do a little jazz gig for maybe 100, say $120, US, something like that, But it's a Tuesday evening, and you're playing from 7:30 till 10, and you're home half an hour later. So that's great, So I do I've got almost no security, but I've got infinite variety.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Which
that's
is
something interesting that you said you're playing mostly also in cruise gigs, right? International cruise.
I've done, yeah, I did that full time for a few years, quite a long time ago, and now I just do it as a kind of I'm on a kind of emergency list. So if someone is already on the ship and they quit the gig, or they get fired, or they have a medical, or
Mm-hmm.
they have maybe something that takes them home, I could get a phone call and say, can you do 2 weeks,
Okay.
3 weeks,
All
one
right.
week, and so that's great, because I can just change my diary,
Yeah.
do that gig. Yeah, so it's just another one of all the gigs that I do in a year.
So what's the
So,
challenge? What's the challenge in playing the cruise gigs and with the regular gigs, do you think?
well, the cruise gigs that I do are all sight reading gigs.
Oh,
They're
okay.
all sight reading. So it's called the orchestra, but that just means like the theatre band, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so if there's any shows, you will play for them. And so the challenge is you have to be able to turn up with sometimes no rehearsal,
Yeah,
open the music,
yeah,
and play. And you need to be able to fit within a 9-piece band and know what's going on,
yeah,
because even sometimes after a rehearsal, during the show, the singer will change something that they don't even realize they've changed it, and the MD will have to signal to everyone, let's go to the next section, and you need to be listening. That's a great challenge, but it's a great learning environment as well. And it's not a challenge, but one of the best things about it is the international aspect of working with so many musicians from, guys from Indonesia, from Philippines, more and more guys from China,
wow, yeah,
Australia, Canada, US. That's been fantastic.
yeah,
That's one of the best things, is just hearing these guys play their own interpretation of jazz, or
yeah,
wow, I've just met so many amazing musicians.
yeah,
But a challenge is that when I was doing it full time, sometimes your contract would be very long, so maybe
mm,
6 months.
wow,
So yeah, and that's every day. You're not guaranteed a day off. You're not guaranteed a
so,
day off in the orchestra, but it just so happens that a lot of the entertainment that comes on board, they don't need a band. It could be a comedian or a circus kind of act, you know, juggling and things like that. So you'll get nights off. So the challenge is to maintain your playing and maintain your kind of mental fitness, and also just maintain your physical fitness as well, because it's all connected, you know.
So basically, you have to be ready every day to play.
Yeah, to play something different, something different as well. And when I do a cruise gig that leaves from England, I can take my double bass as well. So, which is fantastic, because you do jazz gigs and the other challenge has been playing every style of music as well.
Yeah.
But that's great for your ears, you know, fantastic for you.
So the key looks like it's a very good sight reading skill then.
Sight reading is number one. On that particular gig, sight reading is number one. Yeah, it doesn't matter if I've seen a lot of fantastic jazz players come on and then get fired because they're fantastic players, but they can't read.
Wow.
They've maybe got through the audition a little bit, and you know, or you know, I've heard stories that they've got other people to do the audition for them. You know, but that's before Skype and visual. You know, I mean, yeah, there was a few of those guys, definitely.
I think you have a very great confidence in sight reading. So can you share a bit about your secret of how to master the sight reading skill?
An important thing for me is a lot of the gigs I do in London, which don't involve any money, they would be big band gigs. So 17, 18 people. Yeah. You turn up on the evening, you open, and you just play. And one thing I found very helpful in sight reading is if you're playing a tune you've never played before and you don't know what's on the next page, you've no idea. Keep counting in your head. Yeah. Actually say, or even out loud, because no one will hear you because the drums are playing, but just keep counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and just do that, because that means even if you lose the place where you're playing, you'll still be counting at the right time. Yeah. You know, and you will come in with the band, because the worst thing about sight reading is it's not playing the wrong notes, it's getting lost.
That's getting lost, yeah.
Getting lost, you know? Yeah, because if you play some of the wrong notes, but you hit the last chord with the band at the right time, that's kind of okay. But you could play lots of the right notes, but if you're lost and the band finishes and you're still all right, oh sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't. That's one good thing about sight reading is I definitely keep counting, especially odd times, because I find playing a very fast 3/4. I find that pretty difficult. You know, just like My Favorite Things or something like that. You know, that's very very fast 3. I find that hard to. So I tend to count that just in one. You know, just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like that. So that's. But as far as actually learning to sight read, I suppose it's just mathematics. You know, once you recognize what that means on the page, you could, okay, that's 1 beat and that equals 2 beats and that's 3 beats, so that's, you know, and then just do that over and over again. But also there's a difference between learning to read 1 page of music perfectly and also reading 3 or 4 pages and knowing what the coda is and knowing what the da capo or DS means and where the repeats are. And people call that the geography of the chart. You know, so that's incredibly important. Learn to read charts. You know what I mean? So,
that's very important. Yeah, I'm still learning by
and confidence too. Confidence to know, because if you're not confident, that's, you know, that's hard.
yeah. All right.
That's hard.
Very nice. So Now, the interesting question is that there is a music scene before and after the COVID pandemic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
how's the music scene there in UK, do you think, before and after COVID now?
Before, great, you know. I was able to work full time as a musician in London. That was fantastic because of, as I say, the variety of people that I worked with and the variety of music I got to play and the variety of situations that I found myself in that were challenging for me and great fun, you know, just great fun, you know. So, sorry. Oh, sorry, it's just I thought I'd left the radio on, but it's just my neighbours talking. In London, everybody lives like this, you know. Yeah. So, so before, good, probably like yourself, you know, busy, doing lots of different gigs with people, meeting a lot of, especially in London, I meet a lot of new people on every gig, you
Mhm.
know, because people come and go all the time. Brazilian guys, French guys,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
women from wherever, you know, it's great. And then when COVID happened and we went into
Yeah.
lockdown, everyone's gigs disappeared. Everyone. There was
Instantly.
no one instantly,
Wow.
instantly disappeared. Yeah. There was nothing left because everything just got cancelled. The only people that I knew that were still working were on cruise ships because
Mm.
they couldn't come home.
They could come home.
And I know guys now, yeah, I know
They're
guys who
basically
are
trapped.
still, yeah, yeah. I know guys that are now still on a cruise ship
Okay.
from February and they're doing nothing. And the ship's empty, it's just some crew and they're docked maybe Barbados, someplace like this, but you can't get off the ship, but you can't get home either. It's
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. So, um, so the music scene in London now, wow, there's lots of venues are closing, saying that they can't open
Mm.
again, you know, ever again.
Wow.
It's right now. It looks terrible. It looks terrible, but no one knows. That's the
Mhm.
thing. No one knows what next year is going to be like.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Yeah.
So we just hope, you know, you just hope that you can get your life back.
Yeah.
That sounds dramatic, but it's true, and that goes for many people across not just musicians but the whole entertainment
Yeah.
industry and lots of other people too. But from my perspective, the entertainment industry just died, you know, and then now, you know, we're just starting to see the first gigs coming back. Some outdoor gigs and things like this are just starting to come back, but none of the theatre stuff has come back yet. None of that. So
Yeah, maybe because London is also a very touristic place. So many, tourists are
there's lots.
coming and they
Yeah, I mean,
don't
the,
come again.
even you know the we're in lockdown just now. You know, everything's closed and you're not allowed to do this and you're not. And but they've begun to kind of make that easier for people. Now you can go to a bar, you know,
Hmm.
and they showed there was a photograph on the street in central London with all these bars, and the street had so many people in it, just standing like this next to each other. You know, just all everybody was so close, no distancing, no social distance, no masks, no nothing. But that was on the same street as the theatres, which were closed.
All
You
right.
know, so
That's
you could go to a bar, you could stand with your friends right next to you, but they can't open a theatre.
wow.
So that's kind of tough to see
That
that. You
that
know,
also happens in Jakarta, Indonesia. People are everywhere like
yeah,
normal, but the cafes are still closed.
yeah, okay, yeah, same here. I think they've just opened the cafes now. You know, so are you in Jakarta?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in Jakarta. Yeah,
Ah, my
it's a
brother used to live there.
yeah, all right. Yeah, it's a big
Yeah,
city. I think the biggest
yeah,
city in
yeah.
Indonesia. So
Ah, okay,
many
okay.
entertainment businesses are here.
Yeah,
So lots of
yeah, yeah,
musicians are here, but we're not getting
yeah,
at the cafes and everything. It starts, yeah, it starts opening, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
Everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you react personally as a musician when the pandemic comes there in UK? How do you react?
What did I do? You
Yeah,
mean?
what did you do musically and
Well,
everything?
uh, at the beginning, I think everyone was in shock,
Yeah,
you know, because you didn't. This was never. Nobody had ever experienced this before. So what? Oh, right. Oh, okay. So you can't do this. No, you can't do. Oh, right. Okay.
yeah, okay.
So at the beginning, it was just like for me having a period where you didn't have any work. You know what I mean? When you're a full-time musician, you go through periods where you don't have
Yeah,
something for weeks. That just happens to everyone.
yeah.
And so at the beginning, it felt a little bit like that, you
Hmm.
know. So you're like, oh, you know. But then, as it began to get longer and longer, it became a different thing, and it became more of survival, you know.
Yeah, survival. Yeah,
So yeah. So with me, the key to survival is um, sustainability, you know, being able to sustain what you do every day, keep doing that. So for me, that meant that how I how I dealt with it was I keep practicing every
okay.
day and I keep fit. You know, I go running every
Yeah,
day, and that is really just about it. And then I started. Uh, I had to buy a new computer because my old computer died, so I bought that, and I got Logic, and I got an interface, and I
hmm,
started recording for
hmm,
people and for myself. And that's been great because I'd never used Logic before. I'd always used Cubase, and so that was a great learning experience. And so I was able to record electric bass and double bass, and that's really kept me going.
yeah,
Not financially. I just mean
yeah.
almost
Creatively. Yeah,
spiritually, emotionally, psychologically.
yeah,
That's been great. That's been really great. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's a good advice for musicians. Yeah, nowadays that you have to keep yourself being creative and being fit mentally. Fit,
yeah.
right?
I think it, you know, I don't know too much about it, but I think John Coltrane
Hmm.
used to say that he practiced so that he could he was fit on the gig. You know what I mean? Because he felt without practice, he couldn't be creative. And I'm exactly like that. I'm exactly like John Coltrane. No, I mean, no, I just mean that for me, I practice every day because normally when I go to a gig, I don't know who's going to be on the gig.
Yeah,
And you can meet some great
yeah,
players.
yeah.
And if you don't feel good
Hmm,
with your playing,
hmm.
it starts to affect you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the whole gig begins to go like this, and you're like, oh
Okay.
my god,
All right.
this guy's great. These guys are great, and I'm sounding terrible. So for me, it's a kind of it's quite like athletics where you
Yeah.
have to keep fit every single day, and then when you go to your race, your event, your meeting, you're in good shape. So for
Yeah.
me, that's my sort of psychology on
Hmm,
surviving. It's
hmm.
just sustaining all the time. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another aspect I'd like to ask you is about. I heard you say that there is a financial support from the government there for musicians. That's very
Yeah.
good news.
Not just musicians, but anyone who is
Anyone, okay.
self. No,
But it,
no, anyone who's self-employed.
or self-employed, okay.
There are
Yeah,
different categories.
okay.
If you have a normal job and you're employed by someone,
Okay.
then they are paying that through the
Yeah,
government.
yeah.
And if you're self-employed, the government is paying it directly to you.
So how's the scheme for musicians there, if you could share to us?
Good, good. Yeah,
Hmm.
that scheme has been good because what it does is it looks at your tax, the tax that
Okay,
you have paid
okay.
to the government for the past 3 years,
All right.
and it takes an average of
Mm-hmm.
the profit that you have made. It works out that, over those 3 years, and then puts it into a monthly amount, and that would be your average, and they pay 80% of what you have declared as profit. Yeah, yeah. So for me, that's allowed me to live, and hopefully at the end of the pandemic, I would be at zero. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From before the pandemic to now, I'd be just about the same, but probably a little bit down, because you have to buy food and things like this, obviously, you know. But so for self-employed people like me, and practically all freelance musicians are self-employed.
Yeah.
You know, so if you've been eligible to get the money from the government, it's been honestly fantastic. So lucky. So lucky.
So lucky. Yeah. Very helpful there. And, you know.
Very, very helpful. Yeah.
You know, because here is a bit different in Indonesia for musicians, self-employed, and especially musicians. We have to like struggle ourselves, you know, to fight this pandemic, and there's no support whatsoever from the government. And maybe because we have too many people here, you know, in Indonesia for the inhabitants.
Yeah.
So, I mean, very tough. People start selling their basses, selling their gears and everything just to survive their life, you know.
Yeah, that's really, really tough. It's, you know, it takes something like this to make you realize just how lucky I am. You know, I mean, personally, when you hear circumstances from around the world, and of course I know that it's a lot worse in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
So I don't hear too many people complaining in the UK, like musicians. No, everybody's saying this is great. This is why we pay our taxes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that these things can happen, and it's great. It's honestly, for me, it's been very helpful.
Yeah, that's maybe that's your right as a citizen there because of paying taxes, right?
Of course. Every country has different citizens' rights, and of course. So, but been very helpful.
All right, now let's talk about the most fun thing for us bassists, the gears.
The gear.
The gears.
So
what basses are you using right now? I heard that you used Sire. Do you still use Sire basses?
Yeah, of course. I was doing a gig in December 2015, and I was on a break on the gig, and I was looking through the internet, and I saw something with Marcus Miller, and he was advertising some bass, you know. So I looked into it, and I was like, okay, that sounds great, but it's probably going to be $1,500 this bass.
Yeah.
You know, when you first hear it, you're like,
your first thought. That was your first thought.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You think, wow, that sounds like a good bass. You know, it sounds really nice. It's Marcus Miller. It's not Fender. Who are Sire? I've never heard of them before.
Yeah.
And then I just took a chance and bought it online. You know, I bought a new Sire the first generation V7, which I still have, and that came to less than $400.
Where did you buy it from? Online?
Yes, I bought it from Tom Mann, the German company.
The German,
Because at the time they were the only distributors in Europe. They had the whole of Europe. So
now you have Anderton, right? Anderton is in UK, right?
Yeah. I think Anderton is doing Sire. Yeah, and maybe I don't know if that's the only place in the UK, but those basses are. I mean, for UK prices, they're so cheap that you can just buy them online anyway. And if you don't like them, just sell it. And you know.
What's your first impression when you received that Sire bass?
Amazing. Yeah,
compared to your previous basses, say.
Compared to any bass, really. You know, because when I started to look into it, I couldn't believe the detail. You know, that Marcus Miller had changed the position of the pickups, which I didn't know. He didn't like I think they went for, I can't remember if it was 1960s or 1970s positioning. You probably know. You know a lot about Sires, you know. So there was details like this, and then you could string the bass through the body or through the bridge. 18 volt preamp.
Okay.
Like, oh my God.
That's massive.
Massive. And also parametric mid.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, one of the main reasons I bought that bass is because, well, it looked great and it sounded great in the clips. Actually, it wasn't. It was a guy called Adam Dorn. Do you know that guy? He's on YouTube quite a lot. He's also called something like the Bass Whisperer, and
Oh, okay.
he's an American guy, bald
Yeah, yeah,
head,
yeah.
and I think he's a friend of Marcus Miller.
I think that's Ed Friedland, I think.
No, not Ed Friedland.
Oh,
No,
not
there's
Ed
another guy. Yeah, it's a guy, Adam Dorn.
Oh,
Yeah, check him
Adam
out.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I heard of
So
him. Yeah.
yeah, he was the guy that I first saw using a Sire, and I was like, man, these sound great. So my first impressions were, you know, but yeah, the one of the main reasons I bought it is because when you do theatre gigs or even cruise ship stuff, when you're on stage and if you're using an active bass and the battery is going, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the money, and that's the end of the show. You know, so when I discovered that had passive tone, passive switch, I was like, oh, that's a great idea. That's just you know, and that again, that level of engineering for that amount of money is incredible.
And very complete for what you get.
Oh my god!
Oh
my god! Yeah, yeah. The most complete bass for the money I've ever had. And I took that on some big gigs with big PA, and the sound engineer said, "Man, that bass sounds amazing. What is it?" You
some
know?
people say about Sire basses, including me, that Sire has the best part of the Sire basses is the preamp. Yeah, right. So, but when you play without preamp, let's say you switch it to the passive mode. What do you think about it? Does it still stand out?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that absolutely. There's just all I did with my Sire bass was I brought the level of the preamp up to the passive in terms of volume. There was a little bit of because there's a trim pot in the back of the bass, right? And you can adjust the trim. Do you know what I mean?
At the back, trim pot?
Yeah, the trim pot was because what I was noticing was the passive volume was here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The active volume was just below. So I had to go into
the gain difference.
I had to go into the back of the bass and just make it the same. So when it went into my favorite sound to practice on Sire is in passive with no tone, and just all on the back pickup, and you get a great Jacko kind of sound. You know, it's great fun.
Passive tone knob off. Passive tone knob, the knob is off.
Yeah. But also, what's fantastic about Sire bass is it doesn't matter if you're in passive or active, the tone still works.
It works
because I've got an Ibanez bass which is active and passive, and in passive mode the treble control is your tone. But when you put it onto active, the tone control disappears. You've no tone; it's just treble, and treble sounds different from tone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you cut tone, it sounds different from cutting treble. You know, and that's another great thing about the Sire, the stacked pots.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, for the money, everybody says for the money, but for the money, that is the best bass I've ever bought.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I have. Sorry, go on.
Now, do you still have your BBNE one, the Amber?
I do. Yeah, I'll show you. Hold on.
I miss that bass.
Oh man. So that for anyone who doesn't know, this is the
that's my favorite.
This is the Yamaha BBNE 1. Kind of looks like that on the back. Yeah. So you've got a bass, treble, and a kind of three-way selector. Maple top, ebony.
Save that
board.
Save that for me.
Yeah. You know, I was really close to selling this bass.
No, don't
really
sell
close.
It.
And
except to me.
Now, I don't think I'd ever sell this bass now.
Keep that.
You know, because there's something about this bass, and maybe you will know. But the string spacing here feels the widest of any bass I've ever played. And I don't think it might even be 19mm, you know.
Yeah.
But there's something about it. It could be something to do with the width of the neck and the width of the nut, because that keeps everything as wide. And if you have a wide nut and wide strings, you've got a very, and also I think the neck radius is very flat on these basses, which yeah, it's pretty flat. But this bass is it changes so much with temperature.
Oh.
You know. Oh yeah. This bass is crazy.
Really?
You know. Yeah. One day you pick it up and it plays great, and the next day you pick it up and it's going buzzing, and you know.
Okay.
But it's just the woods, you know what I mean? Because a guy in a music store told me that the combination of maple and ebony was the worst for movement. So, but this bass is the loudest bass, not through an amplifier, but when you just play
acoustically.
Yeah, it's got the biggest tone, you know, and that must be how the strings resonate because of the body, and so yeah. If that bass was 35-inch scale, I would only play that bass.
Yeah. So how many basses do you have now?
I've got 5.
Right. What's your most favorite bass? What's your favorite?
Probably the Yamaha. Yeah. And I've got a 1975 Precision, which is here.
Ooh,
and
that's
and a 1975 jazz bass as well. And the jazz bass is horrible. It's one of those basses. It's a Fender bass from the 70s, and it's so hard to play.
Yeah,
it's so disappointing. You know, the P bass is great, and that's so. Yeah, I have 5 basses. I'm also, as you may have seen, I've got an Ibanez BTB.
You're selling it, yeah.
Yeah. So lovely bass, but just not the tone for me.
So about you said that you're doubling on the double bass also. What's the frequency of gigs that you got between the electric and the double bass?
Probably more on double bass.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because when you do anything, I do a lot of jazz gigs, so that's double bass. I do a lot of big band, so that's double bass. I mean paid big band, you know, money gigs on big band. That's all double bass because it's all Glenn Miller, you know, Count Basie, Duke Ellington songs, like, you know, very old style with a real big band and playing hotels and things. So and then when I do electric gigs, that tends to be pop gigs, function gigs, shows of like Motown and things like that. So I would say overall I do more gigs throughout the year on double bass than I do on electric. Yeah. So
all right. Including in the cruise? Yeah. In cruise you use the upright bass?
No, I use the upright bass if I can on a cruise gig, yeah. But generally, that you could do the whole gig on electric, no problem.
Okay.
And most guys do. You know, it's just that the only time I can take my double bass is when the cruise ship leaves from England and comes back to England. So my 2 weeks on board would, you know, I'd go to Southampton in the UK, and then you do 2 or 3 weeks and you're finished in Southampton. There's no flights. So so I can just drive to the gig, to the ship, and take my double bass.
All right, that's very nice.
Yeah.
All right, now what's your current and upcoming project that you do?
Oh, geez, I'm doing. As I was saying earlier, with getting into Logic, I've started recording with some friends and found how easy that is to do from home. You know, I'd never really done much of that before, and so I've done maybe 10 different projects since I got the computer a few weeks ago, and that's been everything from like the stuff that you've seen, which is just recording myself to sell my Ibanez. And then luckily I was able to borrow a microphone, a really nice microphone, to record the double bass. So I did some stuff with that. So that stuff's just going on all the time. But projects coming up, the only thing that's brand new is that I got in touch with these guys who are advertising for a bass player to do a tribute band to Frank Zappa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I thought, wow, that doesn't come up very often, you know, and that music is challenging, you know. I'd like to see the charts, you know, I'd like to see the bass charts for that. So I got in touch with these guys to say, yeah, I'd like to do that, and so I'm kind of in the process of just. It's not started yet, but I think they got a lot of replies from bass players who want to do it. So that's fair enough, you know. But yeah, all the projects I have now are generated by me, you know, just playing and getting in touch with people, doing recording for other people. And I did some recording on double bass for a guy who makes music for TV and films and stuff, you know, so just a session, you know, so that's you know, if I could continue doing that when lockdown finishes, that would be another income. So that would be great, you know. Yeah. But that's why you got to practice every day. Yeah.
So how's the projection? I mean, the future that may bring in UK about the entertainment business there. Do you think it's going to be recovering very soon or still unknown?
I have no idea. I've really no idea, because who if people knew this, they'd be billionaires. You know, I mean, if you could predict what was going to happen in the entertainment business in the UK, it's impossible to say. It really is, because things change from one week to the next in this pandemic, you know, and it's something we've never been through as a world before like this in modern times. So I've sort of, you know, I don't predict anything is going to happen, because who could have predicted this? You know, so it's, and I think that also if you're constantly trying to predict what's going to happen, and that can make you very worried, you know, because you're fighting all the time, saying, oh, what will I do if this happens? What will I do if that happens? How would I do that? How would I do this? And you've no control. You know what I mean? You've no control in what's going to happen. So I think the only thing that I'm doing is a bit like you, is that I'm just trying to keep a social media presence. So that people don't forget about me when gigs come back.
That's right.
Because now every bass player is available. Everybody's available.
Worldwide.
You know? Worldwide. If you've still got your gear, you're available. You know? and that's the thing for gigs. So because generally I don't do much of a social media presence, I thought, okay, I've got to do anything, just anything. And all I'm doing is just trying to keep my name in people's heads when it comes to booking bass players for gigs. That's it. That's really it. Nothing more, you know. But, and also you see how successful certain people are with social media. You probably, I'll give you an example, right? There's a guy in South America. Let's see if you know this guy, right? He's a South American bass player. He plays like salsa, merengue, mambo kind of stuff. He's very fat, but he does a kind of funny dance when he plays. There you go.
I saw the videos.
Right? There you go. That's a perfect example of how good social media is in making someone world famous. Now, I'm not looking to be world famous, but I know that guy. I live in London. He lives in Brazil, someplace in Brazil, I think. You know him. You live in Jakarta, and you know that guy from Brazil, and we both know what he does, and we both know what he plays like, and that to me is a fantastic example of the power of having your face and having your image online a lot. People know you, and I'll guarantee that guy has made some money from
I think so.
even if it's YouTube monetized,
Yeah.
you know, adverts. And I hope he has. I really hope he has, because he's kind of entertaining, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
he's entertaining.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but that's an example of what I mean. You know,
Yeah.
how else would we have ever known about that guy from Brazil or wherever he's from?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And so that's why, in my own way, I'm not doing that because I can't dance like he does. But that's all I'm doing, is just trying to keep some kind of social media presence, so that your name is in the game. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a YouTube channel now then?
I do have a YouTube channel. I started putting up some lessons on double bass.
Oh, right. That's nice. Yeah.
Just called 2-minute jazz bass.
Oh, wow. So guys,
So
my subscribers and my friends here, I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to tell you that this guy, Mike, has a YouTube channel and a free
yeah.
lesson for double bass, right?
Yeah, they're all free. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
everything's
So you
free.
could check it out.
But it's kind of, the reason I did that is because I wanted those kind of lessons when I was starting
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
The simple lessons of how to play a triad,
Yeah.
you know, because once you learn something very basic, that's a fantastic foundation,
Mm.
because you know yourself
Mm-hmm.
how difficult for your brain it can be to play a triad all over the bass, backwards, forwards,
Yeah.
upside down, inversions. And once you know that stuff, that's huge. You know, it's not just being able to tap and to play two-handed, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got to know the real foundations of stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Gary Willis is such a fantastic teacher.
Yeah.
He's got that stuff down,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. So yeah. So that's why I did that, just to maintain some kind of social media presence.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to, to the end of this interview, but
Yeah.
I want you to have your message for musicians worldwide, how to survive this pandemic.
Oh wow. Well, a message to musicians worldwide is kind of difficult, because everybody has their own
Yeah,
circumstance. But I would just say good luck. Good luck to everyone. I hope that everyone can make it through this. But also, I hope you still get enjoyment from music,
yeah,
because those of us who depend on music to make a living
yeah,
can sometimes see music in a different way, where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this gig, but it's good money, and I've got to travel this far, and I'll be in the car for 4 hours, and it's sometimes not that enjoyable. But also just realize, if you're doing that, how lucky you are. Because every time I'm in my car driving through London, I see a guy digging up the road, I think, wow, that guy's really working, and he deserves a lot of respect, and I'm very lucky doing what I do. So
yeah,
I just hope that people can come through this and still enjoy music, and still be part of a kind of bass community, really, and a music community. Definitely. So,
because some musicians nowadays in this condition start thinking to change their profession,
I know.
to live their
I
music.
mean,
Yeah.
the best story I ever heard of that was a friend of mine had a gig in a hotel in Tokyo, Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a saxophone player, and he was playing one night in the hotel, just his usual repertoire, and Michael Brecker came in,
Okay.
the great Michael Brecker, and my friend was like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" So on the break, he went up to Michael Brecker and said, "I'm sorry," because he had to play all these tunes. And Michael Brecker said, "Look, don't ever apologize for what you do.
Uh-huh.
You're making a living from music. If it's any benefit to you," my brother Randy Brecker, the trumpet player,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Brecker's brother is Randy Brecker, a fantastic trumpet player. He said, "My brother Randy is driving a cab in New York," and that was Randy Brecker,
Mm-hmm.
driving a cab. So I can understand people changing their professions and stuff. That's so tough. But I hope you don't have to, and I hope that everyone, including me, survives it and still enjoys
hopefully
the great things that music is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you too. I hope you come through.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, keep going and with everything, because you're a good kind of strength on internet and kind of social media. You've got a good personality and a good strength coming outwards and a good attitude towards other people. Yeah, so keep going.
Yeah, at least I could still sell Sire basses.
Well, I hope so. I hope you can, because there's still hundreds of those products.
Yeah.
There's so many versions now, you know, and they all look good.
They have 5 new versions, new modes, you know, new types nowadays.
I've almost got a vintage. You know, the V7 is like a vintage model now, right?
Speaking about the V series, they released the totally passive V series.
I saw that.
So it's V5. Yeah. So it has the best thing about that is it has roasted neck, that you would find in V10, right?
Right. Okay.
Expensive Sire bass that they have, and then the different part is that the knob's configuration is not a volume balance, but it's volume tone. It's like Fender
jazz bass, like a jazz bass. Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be great. I would probably review that in September or October for V5.
Yeah, it's funny that, you know, as you say, one of the best things about Sire basses is the preamp. And yet, you know, that of course they've got to make a passive model, because some people, even though you can flick to passive, for some reason people don't want it. I don't know why, but still, I hope you do get to sell a lot of Sire basses, because they
keep improving.
Don't know how they. Yeah, they do. And when I know, sorry, we're coming to the end.
No, it's good. It's okay.
I just couldn't believe that they could make that bass for that money. And I read into their story online and how they did it, and I still don't quite understand it, how they got that bass produced at that money. It's amazing. That's still a great company. But there's more and more basses being made in Indonesia, right?
Yeah. Ibanez. That's why I'm asking you that.
That was
it's Indonesian, huh?
That's an Indonesian bass. I think some of the Yamahas are maybe still made in Japan, are they?
Yeah. Your BBNE is Japanese.
Oh, that one's
But some Yamahas, the middle down Yamaha basses are made in Indonesia, and also chord basses. Chord basses,
Yeah. Oh, there's a fantastic chord out just now called the Artisan.
Artisan. It used to be Korean. Yeah, used to be Korean chord, and then now it's Indonesian only, I think.
I guess it's just where it becomes cheaper to manufacture, right? And quality as well, you know. Yeah,
the best thing about Sire basses is the QC guy is the Korean guy who lives in Indonesia.
Okay.
That's the key person who makes the basses, the Sire basses, is the Korean.
Yeah, the only thing that was a bit strange with my V7 was, like a lot of people, the tuning machine heads. Yeah, they were a little bit loose, you know. But it didn't affect the tuning. It's just I still got the original tuners on it, so it works fine.
Yeah, some people upgrade their V7s even. Yeah. I think V7 hardware are still okay, but some people upgrade the V3 hardware, you know. Have you ever tried the V3 with the mahogany?
I haven't tried. No, I haven't tried any other Sire basses, because there's no place. There's really no place to try them. You know, there's not places that stock a lot of basses.
I think you have Anderton now. Anderton is in London, right? They have a store in London.
It's just south. It's about maybe 1 hour and a half from me south. It's in a place called Guildford. It's in Guildford.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could try it there. They have complete Sire basses type.
Yeah, but they've also got the Spectre Euro LT, which I would probably buy if I went to the store.
Where is it made? Spectre, American?
No,
Korean.
It's a American design, but it's made in the Czech Republic.
Oh, Czech.
Europe. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So these are the bass that I've been looking at is the Spectre Euro LT, and it has a dark glass preamp.
Dark glass. Wow.
Yeah. So although I don't want distortion or anything like that, I'd be interested to see how it compares but it's very like the Yamaha. It's I think it's maple with ebony, so
Okay.
it's kind of my favorite combination. You know.
How much is it gonna be for the Spectre, roughly?
£2,000.
Oh, wow.
It's quite an expensive bass. Yeah, yeah,
1,000.
yeah. So that's why I'm trying to sell the Ibanez.
Shall to get a
Don't
new
broadcast. Don't broadcast that. yeah. One goes out, one comes in.
As long as you don't sell the BBNE, I'm okay with that.
No, I can't believe. Yeah, I can't believe I almost sold that. Yeah, great bass, great. So,
Okay, Mike, it's been a very nice talking with you.
you too, Rama. Really
thank
nice.
you for accepting my invitation to get involved
No,
with the channel.
thank you for getting in touch.
Yeah. Keep in
Yeah.
touch, and I wish you good luck there in UK with everything.
Thank you. You too. You too. I hope it goes well for you. Good luck.
Changing there. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Okay. Take care, Rama.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye.